What up, and what's popping? This shit, Dog Breeze from Fahrenheit 451, part of the Fourth and Gold Network. We're burning the books alive. We went 2-2 yesterday, frustratingly, because once again I had a bunch of other plays. Cavaliers money line tied Jerome over his 15 points that we played and that we smacked, but I didn't give them to you out on the video. So we went 2-2. We dropped a 0.4 of a unit. Back on my best bets in the NBA for February 5th. Let's get right into it. I am not here, not today or ever, to waste your time. Daniel Berry was popping. I think Daniel Berry was in here and then he left because I believe it's just me and me up in this thing. I got my TV hooked up to I have my laptop hooked up to the TV. So if anybody does come in here, let me see. Well, it's just me and me, so whatever. All right, where we at? Man, where my notes at? Man. Y'all want a little background boogie while I get this shit situated? I got you. Always gonna use off that lo-fi. All right, first up from the Houston Rockets, we're going with KD, Kevin Durant, Slim Reaper, the Durantula. Over his 23 points, minus 130 odds over on FanDuel. He's hit this line in his last 5 out of 7. As we can see on the screen, 31 points or more in 4 of those last 5. Now with 0 days rest, let me see, have they updated this at all? No, I'm still saying 3 days rest. I can't show it to you guys. However, but with 0 days rest, he's over this line in his last 6 out of 6 games. I could probably show it to y'all. Hold on. Hold on. Okay, there we have it right here. You would think the thing that I pay for would actually come through. Kevin Durant, with 0 days rest, he's over this line in his last 6 out of 6 games, averaging 30.8 points, 31 points or more in 4 of those 6 back-to-back games. Now, slide back over here. 18 field goal attempts or more in every single one of his back-to-back games. With 18 field goal attempts or more, he is hitting this line in with 18 field goal attempts or more, he's hitting this line in 20 out of 25 games, averaging 28.3 points. 30% of his points come from the above the break 3. Charlotte is allowing the 7th most above the break 3s, 26 and 27 points. His last 2 games versus Charlotte. Next, from the Philadelphia 76ers, I'm going to be going with my boy VJ Hotcomb. I might have to back it out. My boy VJ Hotcomb from the Sixers. Over his 4 assists. Dropping down. VJ Edgy, over his 4 assists. 5, 7, and 7 assists in his last 3 over this line in his last 7 out of 10 games. I'm going to go down here to the filters. Joel Embiid is supposed to play. That can always change, but as of right now, Joel Embiid is supposed to play. As you see here, he's a game time decision. With Joel in the lineup, my boy VJ Hotcomb is hitting his line in his last where we at? With Joel Embiid in the lineup, he's hitting his line in his last 12 out of 14 games, averaging 7.8 potential assists, and he also averages 8 potential assists on the season, right? With 8 potential assists or more, he's hitting his line in his last 18 out of 19, averaging 5.8 points. Pairing that with AR-15, Austin Reeves of the Los Angeles Lakers to score 10 points. As you see here, Austin Reeves is 11 points or more in 24 out of 24 games this season, as well as in his last 2 games versus the Sixers. Lips on super chat back. All right. So it's going to be VJ Edgecombe over his 4 assists, AR-15 over his 11 points, minus 115 odds over on FanDuel. That's not the one that I had to use FanDuel your way for, but this next one is. So just stick with me. Just stick with me while I break down this Colin Gillespie look. Ba-da-dum. 3-pointers made, 13.5 3-pointers made. That is diabolical. All right. Colin Gillespie over 3 threes, a line that he's hit in his last 10 out of 11 games. 4 threes or more in his last 4 games. 6 3-pointers attempted or more in his last 19 out of 20 games. Now, that might sound a little crazy. So let me show y'all so we can see. So you see I'm not capping. Excuse me. I said 19 out of 20. It is 18 out of 20. Because I see he got 5 right here. See, that's why. See? I ain't never going to lie to you now. Gillespie, 6 3-pointers attempted or more in his last 18 out of 20 games. While we were there, we should have moved the filter. I think I went too far. With 6 3-pointers attempted or more, he's over this line in his last 32 out of 38 games. Why is it on 2? Like a flat 2. There we go. Colin Gillespie over his 3 threes, a line that he's hitting in his last 10 out of 11 games, 4 3-pointers or more in his last 4. 6 3-pointers attempted or more in his last 18 out of 20 games with 6 3-pointers attempted. He has hit this line in his last 32 out of 38 games, averaging 3.6 3-pointers made. Golden State is allowing the 3rd most threes to the point guard position. In their last 5 games, Colin Gillespie is scoring 82% of his points from the above the break 3. In their last 5 games, Golden State is allowing the 10th most above the break 3s. Now, I must preface this by saying Colin Gillespie, check this shit out. Colin Gillespie is under this line, look, November, December, and later in December. Colin Gillespie is under this line in his last 3 games versus the Warriors. However, if we just go look at his last 4 games, his last, 9 out of 10 games, he's on fucking fire, and I believe that the hoop is going to feel like the size of the ocean to him. So I feel like the cream will rise to the top. I paired that with another one of my G-men. I took my boy Guy Santos. I played Guy Santos the other day. I might just play him straight. 7.5 points. It was 8.5 earlier. I'll definitely bite on that 7.5. Pause. On that line of 7.5. All right, Guy Santos hooping recently. As you see, his minutes are upticking. He's playing like 21 minutes or more in his last few games. Let's go ahead and just edit my boy so you can kind of see what really going on. Edit him at 21 minutes. He's really out there hooping. And it just took my edit away. That's quick, but it doesn't really matter. I took Guy Santos for 1-3, paired it with Colin Gillespie over his 3 threes. Guy Santos over 1-3. Guy Santos 2 and 1 3-pointers made in his last 2 versus Phoenix. 1 3-pointer or more in his last 10 straight games. Obviously, Steph Curry, Jimmy Butler are out. Buddy Hield just got shipped off. Kuminga just got shipped off. It's going to be just free range for my boy Guy Santos to cook, man. So I took Colin Gillespie over his 3 threes with Guy Santos over 1 3-pointer made. I had to use FanDuel Your Way to curate that little bitch ass parlay. Shout out to Daft. And that's a plus 103. I put 1 unit on it. I'm glad I didn't wait till 2 o'clock to oh shit, have I not been sharing my screen this whole time? That's crazy. That's crazy. I ain't been sharing my screen this whole time. Damn. I'm like, where's the stop sharing button at? My bad, Joe. I thought I was sharing my screen the whole time. All right. So, fuck it. This is how we're going to do it. We're going to recap at the 13-minute and 20-second mark, and I'm going to just show y'all my screen like I thought that I was doing the whole entire time. All right. So, first up, from the Houston Rockets, we took Kevin Durant over his 23 points. Thought I was sharing my screen with you guys the whole time, like I said, and I wasn't. So Kevin Durant over his 23 points. We'll just run it down in the recap. Kevin Durant over his 23 points. He's over this line in 5 out of 7, 31 points or more in his last 4 out of 5. With 0 days of rest. He's over this line in his last 6, averaging 31 points, 30.8 points. All right. Kevin Durant over his 23. I think it'll be a laterable spot. He's over this line in his last 2 versus Charlotte. That's so fried. I haven't been sharing my screen. Next, we took VJ Hotcomb over his 4 assists. VJ Edgecomb over his 4 assists. Where we at? VJ Edgecomb over his 4 assists, a line that he's hit in his last 7 out of 10, 5, 7, and 7 assists. In his last 3, hitting his line in his last 12 out of 14 with Joel Embiid, averaging 7.8 potentials when he has 8 potentials or more. He's hitting this line in his last 18 out of 19, and I paired that with Austin Reeves. over his 10 points. Austin Reeves, 11 points in 11 points or more in 24 out of 24 games this year. As you can see here, 11 points or more. VJ over his 4 assists. Austin Reeves over his 10 points. Minus 115 on FanDuel. Got KD over his 23 for minus 130. Last but not least, we took Colin Gillespie over his 3 threes. Colin Gillespie absolutely flame-throwing shit right now. Over this line in his last 9 out of 10. 6 3-pointers attempted or more in his last 18 out of 20 with 6 3-pointers attempted or more. Then his line in his last 32 out of 38. Failed to go over this line in his last 3 versus Golden State, but I believe Cream will rise to the top. And I paired this with Guy Santos. Over 1-3. Guy Santos, 2 and 1 3-pointers made last 2 games versus Phoenix. 1 3-pointer made or more in his last 10 games straight. That's plus 103 over on FanDuel. I had to use the FanDuel Your Way option to make that happen. All right. So a nice, lengthy recap because I thought I was sharing my screen with you guys the whole time. And I wasn't. My bad. Just to recap one more time, Kevin Durant over his 23 points, VJ Hotcomb over his 4 assists, paired with AR-15. Austin Reeves from the Lakers over 10 points, minus 115 on FanDuel. Plus 103 on FanDuel is Colin Gillespie over his 3 threes, paired with Guy Santos over his 1 3-pointer made. Playing enough on each play to make 1 unit back. Like, comment, and subscribe for your daily sports betting videos and analysis. Let's keep burning them. As always, I will see you tomorrow. If you would like access to all of my plays as soon as I place them for just 16 cents a day, subscribe to the Patreon. That is already linked down below. Love, peace, and fish grease. Let's continue to run up these units. Hold on.